Hello everyone, this is Michael Madden. I'm broadcasting live from RE/MAX Unlimited Real Estate on Scott Avenue in Whitehall, Pennsylvania, United States. And I'm sitting here with a good friend of mine, Alex Renzetti, which I've known for probably 4 or 5 years. And very impressive woman. All I would tell you is when I was in the beginning stages with the Lehigh Valley Elite Network, I met Alex. I guess she found me through LinkedIn and we met at Panera Bread. And she had a fully functional Wix website for the Lehigh Valley Elite Network. And that kind of started me on this path of social media and really doing the internet marketing. So I got to thank you for a lot of that inspiration to get things started that way. So if you want to just tell people what you do kind of right now and then where your head's at.
So like Michael said, my name is Alex Renzetti. I am a visual branding manager with a company called Evolution Works LLC based out of Easton, Pennsylvania. What I do is I work with companies on creating a brand identity or curating one that already exists, and taking that brand identity and making sure that it's not only unique, but that it's cohesive across all of their platforms, their advertising, their signage, their vehicles, everything from their business card to their trade show booth and everything in between.
Yeah, and Alex is actually a big reason why we had started this social media training. One of the challenges I had when I was running the Lehigh Valley Elite Network, we were doing a lot of Facebook stuff and LinkedIn, but there were a lot of people that really didn't understand the basics of that. And she at one point was the marketing manager over at the Leaf Restaurant over in Forks Township, Forks Township, which is a gorgeous venue there. And we were doing our social media trainings there, and you were one of the most gracious hosts I've ever came across.
Thank you.
You really did a great job. I mean, and one of the things that we initially wanted to, I guess it was a challenge that needed to be overcome in my mind, is it's kind of tucked away in an area that's in like a business park there. And then also I wanted to overcome the perception that people would come to a meeting and smell like cigar smoke, which was furthest from the truth there. We used to do it on a Monday afternoon when they were closed, and she had one of her in-studio TV people shoot one of our first videos out there, and it's still getting one of the best views out there. Yeah. But really, one of the best marketers I've ever met. So why don't you kind of tell me a little bit about Snapchat, because that is becoming the new thing there, and that's...
You know, technology, Michael, is evolving faster than the speed of light, in my own opinion. And you know, things that we used to think were such humongous platforms like email, Google AdWords, things like that, even Facebook, you know, are taking on different forms now, and we're getting our information differently, and our attention span has gotten so much shorter that Snapchat is something that allows you to record 10-second videos or photos and share them and get followers and create unique content that nobody else is creating.
Right.
And put it out there to an audience that might be a little bit younger, but the millennial generation, this is a lot of the way that we communicate. We're always on the go, we're always on our phones. Laptops are practically becoming obsolete. Right. And we have to have everything that we can right in our hand.
Right.
And that's, I think Snapchat is really a way to get a message across quickly, short, sweet, and to the point, and that's what we need.
Yeah, and I haven't seen her in about 2 years. She went up to her family's business up in I guess Brooklyn, New York, right? Yeah. A pizzeria.
Yeah, Victoria Pizzeria. It is in Garrettson Beach.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
Yeah, and she suddenly reappeared in the Lehigh Valley, and I'm excited. You're going to be a great addition to the people in the Lehigh Valley.
Well, I'm ecstatic to be back. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, so she's actually going to be one of the presenters on Tuesday at the Buca di Beppo restaurant. Yes, over in Whitehall, Pennsylvania. So the new company that you're with now, as far as marketing, branding, why don't you kind of go into a little detail as far as what they do and some of the events that you do?
Well, we put ourselves out there primarily as a graphics company. So what we do is we do everything from design, concept, installation, anything that you can put your logo on, apparel, promotional products, printing, signage, like I mentioned, vehicle wraps. We do interior, exterior signs. Everything that makes your brand unique and that has your brand's message, we're able to then put that out there to the world and make sure that that message, like I said before, is cohesive. Right. Because if your branding is not cohesive, you know, if you have one picture of you looking this way and your logo looks different on your website versus on your Facebook page versus on your t-shirt. You know, people are getting mixed signals, people are getting mixed messages.
Right.
You wanna make sure that your logo is the same on every single thing that you're doing. Your message is being put out there the same way on every single thing that you're doing, because that's the more impressions that you're able to make and the more that people are able to receive that message.
Yeah, and I would just say Alex is probably one of the best people I know that does branding. And you were talking a little bit about Valerie Bitner. She actually did a Facebook Live event over on Thursday over at Morgan's Restaurant. Why don't you kind of give me some insights of what you thought of her presentation,
Well,
and just reiterated some of the basics of branding and.
So not only did Valerie have her entire presentation set up with a retractable banner, which we do, set up right next to her presentation. So when you walked into the room, you knew Valerie was the presenter.
Right.
Her retractable banner said everything about what she does: model, actress, spokesperson, how to get in touch with her, pictures of her. These are all the things that people are looking for when they're looking for somebody like that. So she set it up beautifully to begin with. Then when she got talking about video and the different platforms, she was showing work that she did, but she was also educating every single person that was there about video marketing analysis.
Right.
And the things that business owners and even people in marketing sometimes don't think of, and the questions that they don't ask, and getting to know the client. And that's how your video ends up working for you rather than you working for it.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant, because I think a lot of people do videos and they just kind of splash it out there hoping something good will happen with no kind of strategy. And in today's fast-paced world, it's about grabbing people's attention.
Absolutely, and you don't have much time to do that.
No.
So the quicker that you can make that happen, especially for somebody like Val to get her picture out there and her image out there as instantaneously as she did,
Right.
I think everybody that walked out of that room knows Valerie's name.
Right. And I'm going to have Alex actually help us. We're going to be doing a Facebook basic training here at RE/MAX Unlimited for some of the real estate agents in our office with Carol Landis. And then I'm going to have you speak a little bit about some more of the advanced stuff on there. What do you think about using Facebook as a tool to market business in general?
I think Facebook is a really interactive medium. I think that with all the different opportunities that you have to post photos and content and video and share things from your website and embed codes and all of these different things, plus the ability that you have to network personally,
Right.
and share things to your business page across your different web platforms and across your different social media sites is so important, because people get their information all different ways in today's world.
Right.
You know, some people might only be on Instagram.
Right.
Some people might only be on Facebook. Some people might not have any social media, might only be on email.
Right.
You need to really curate what you're saying and make sure that you're reaching the right target audience when you're putting that message out there. And Facebook is a great outlet that allows you to do all of those things in one shot.
And just, I thought, something that I learned today, she measures results on Facebook. I'm much more measure results on my Lehigh Valley Elite page, like where traffic's coming from. But if you could just touch upon what impressions are and all those, and how you actually look at that on a business page.
So when it comes to your Facebook, you know, you want to track your analytics. If you're not tracking your insights, if you're not tracking your viewership, if you're not tracking your engagement, you're really missing out. You have to understand, you know, we were talking earlier about the time of day when we put posts out there,
Right.
and what days of the week. Your insights allow you to see when your audience is at its peak times, what days of the week that they're on your page the most, what times of the day that they're on your page the most. So if you know that your audience is watching you the most at 11 o'clock on Monday morning, that's when you should be putting your post out, because that's when you have the most likelihood of getting the highest engagement. If you know that they're there Monday at 11 and you don't post until Monday at 7 at night, you've missed an opportunity.
Right.
So it's really important to guess and test and try all different methods, whether it's content, whether it's a link, whether it's a photo, whether it's a video, whether it's from somebody else's page. You have to check what these things are doing, because if you just put it out there and you never monitor it and you never go back and track your results, how do you know what's working?
No, I agree. I mean, I look at a lot of views and things like that, but I really don't look in deeper than that. And what is that actually creating,
Correct.
you know, at the end of that? Have you done anything with targeted ads on Facebook, or is that?
I have, and you know, it really depends on the business and what you're doing and what you're trying to promote. You know, events are great for targeted ads. If you're trying to drive foot traffic, That's another great way, or I should say online traffic. But you can do it for foot traffic as well. You know, there's a bunch of different ways that you can use advertising on Facebook and on any social media to promote what you're doing, but you have to have a reason and you have to have something. You don't want to just put out there, you know, your company, because people might not necessarily know what it is or what it's about.
Right.
You have to have a call to action. You have to engage people and get them to come and get them to want to click and get them to want to share.
And as far as these promotional products, things like that, I think that's a good tie-in for that, because once you get them engaged, like I shared a pen with somebody that was here before, and their brand is right on there, and it just instantly reminded me, and that's been sitting in my briefcase for probably 1.5 years now.
Right.
But it just reminded me of that person again, it just, because it was there.
Exactly.
So how important do you think it is for promotional products in like some of the businesses you work with now? You were talking about a bakery.
Yes.
What are you going to be doing for them tomorrow? I guess they have a grand opening or.
So we work with the Sands Casino and its affiliates, including the outlets, the event center, and so on. And Buddy Belastro of Cake Boss,
Oh yeah.
you might know the TV show,
Yeah.
is opening another Carlos Bakery right here in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Is he going to be there?
He is going to be there.
All right, I like that guy.
8:30 to 11 tomorrow morning, Saturday. And he is going to be there for the ribbon cutting. And we actually did all of the signage and the vinyl graphics and the directional signs and everything for it. And at the end of the day, you look at all of the different things that this agency worked with us on and the cohesion of their branding and their colors and their design aesthetic and how everything ties together, from the event parking signs to the vinyl graphics on the windows to the awning to even the Facebook event.
Right.
It all matches.
Right.
So when you see those red and maroon stripes, you know it's Carlos Bakery. You see it on Facebook. You see the event. We went on our Facebook page and shared their event. So now we're getting those dual shares from them.
Right.
And it's all a team effort. It's all about utilizing your network to its fullest potential.
Now, let's say you're a local business owner and you don't have the resources to think it out, that process. Do you offer that type of consultation?
Oh, absolutely. If there's anybody, you know, social media is something that I went to school for. It's something that I'm very versed in. And a lot of people are very apprehensive because they just don't understand it.
Right.
Especially business owners. And some of them just don't have the time.
Right.
Or they don't have a marketing person to handle it. And you know, it is about staying relevant. You can't just think you're going to post on Facebook once and your whole life is going to change. It's not a miracle.
Right.
You know, you have to constantly be putting yourself out there. Think about McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows McDonald's logo.
Right.
Everybody knows Burger King's logo.
Right.
Does that mean that they stop advertising? They probably are some of the biggest advertisers in the game.
Right.
Because they know their competition and they have to stay relevant. So although McDonald's has been around for years and years and years, they're advertising more now than they ever have before.
So let's say I'm a local business. Do you go in there and kind of analyze what products or services you can offer that would get them the best results for their dollar spent? Like,
oh, absolutely. Because if I don't help you get the most bang for your buck, you're never going to come back to me.
Right.
You know, but it's really important for the business owner or whoever I'm talking to understand the premise of social media, to understand why we're doing it. Because if you don't understand why, you're never going to be able to do it well.
Right.
Right? So you have to really understand, what is social media? Why do we use it? What is my target audience on all of these different platforms? And how am I going to target my message or change my message based on the platform to reach different people? What I'm talking to people about on Snapchat might be different than the way that I advertise that same product on Facebook.
Right.
Or on YouTube or on LinkedIn.
Right.
You know, the way that I write an article might be phrased a little bit differently to my LinkedIn audience than it is to my Facebook audience. Facebook is a little bit more casual,
and I remember
LinkedIn is a little bit more professional.
I remember when you were at the Leaf and the famous smoke shop, how much they really dominated the market strictly through social media and some of the platforms that they use. Can you just kind of speak to that?
Well, and
how they built that whole business around?
And the funny thing is, for those of you who know about cigars and tobacco, you know, we were not allowed to advertise on Google.
Oh, is that right?
Tobacco is prohibited from being advertised via Google AdWords. So we had to really, really bump up our advertising on other social media platforms, because we could not, other than organically, we could not grow
Right.
through Google. So through video, the production team over at Famous Smoke Shop is second to none. Their graphics department
really
is also second to none. And they really work hard to get that message out on multiple platforms, whether it's through their email, but their email is cohesive with what's going on Facebook,
Right.
with what's going on their website.
Right.
It's all the same.
Right.
And it's all portraying the same message with the same spokesperson, with the same idea,
Right.
you know, and it's getting to all these different audiences, but we had to really bump it up. We did as much ad promotion. We did a lot of paid ads on Facebook and things like that. And it really worked for us because it was the outlet that we had the most potential to captivate that audience.
So were you constantly measuring your marketing dollars against different
yes.
platforms?
Oh yes, and you know, that was what I mentioned before about guessing and testing, because you don't always know what works and
Right.
what doesn't. You know, some people might be really engaged by a picture, other people might be really engaged by a video.
Right.
You might put out, you know, we had certain instances where we would write 3 lines of text and get more engagement than a whole album of pictures.
Right.
You know, it all depends on the content that you're putting out there and knowing your audience and
Right.
knowing how they're going to respond and watching their market trends and understanding their interests and them as people and not just as consumers.
Right.
Because you have to know what piques their interest and what gets them excited, and that's when you see your engagement organically grow.
And then if you could talk a little bit about, like, when you're running an ad, what you're trying to accomplish. Because I think a lot of people will do an ad, they won't ask them to call, or they won't have them go
Right.
to a website to buy something. Where
Right.
if you can kind of just touch upon
Well,
how important that
there's
is.
two things. There's the you got to grab their attention.
Right.
You know, we live in a world where we see how many advertisements a day, from the signs that we see on the street to the billboards to the commercials on TV to the commercials on the air, and we're saturated.
Right.
We're in a saturated world.
Right.
And so you have to do something that in the first 10 seconds grabs you,
Right.
you know? But then you're wasting your opportunity if you don't ask the viewer to then do something.
Right.
Whether it's call us today,
Right.
head to our website,
Right.
click this ad, whatever, share this picture, enter our content, whatever you're asking them to do,
Right.
you gotta ask.
Right.
You gotta prompt them to go further, because
Right.
if you don't, they're not going to.
Well, here, another mistake I see a lot of times with video is people will give out so much information that people are making a buying decision based on a video, rather teasing them to do something where you can actually engage in the conversation
Right.
to make a
And-
sale happen. And that really happens quite often.
And like I said, people are very different in the way that they absorb information.
Right.
You know, some people might be able to make a buying decision pretty quickly.
Right.
For somebody like me, I want you to prompt me to go to the website.
Right.
I want to, at my own convenience, read about your services.
Right.
Understand, maybe make a phone call if I feel the need. But I don't necessarily think that within 1 minute, I'm going to buy the product unless it's something right there that I see that, you know, I'm ready to buy.
Right.
But it's all about making sure that your customers are engaging with you, not just about your product,
Right.
not just about your service, but about you.
Right.
Establishing brand loyalty.
Right.
You know, an ad is not always going to be meant to make somebody buy something.
Right.
It might be made to, you know, for them to take a different step or to go in a different direction. And as long as you, as the idea behind that ad, have that direction, your consumers will follow along.